Now, let's go to the Homo now. We are at the Homo part. So we started with Ardipithecus. That was the first genus. We went to Australopithecus, but now we are at the Homo genus, right? So the Homo genus, and again I say, do not cram the tables, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, do not cram the tables. The tables are just there to give you a guide. Probably they are going to ask only one question about Homo habilis. Maybe they're going to ask Homo habilis, when was the fossil of Homo habilis found? They are not going to ask everything here in such a way that you need to like take too much time memorizing the table. It's actually a waste of time for you. All right. So to minimize time wastage, what should you do? You should try to catch the most important characteristics, because these tables, they can always present them for you in form of diagrams and graphs and all of that. They can even give you a diagram like this with numbers such as 2, such as 1.5, such as 1.0, such as 0.5. These numbers, they do have a function. They will give you the numbers within the diagram. So don't focus too much on framing the tables. Focus on understanding the content there. So the Homo is the last species that we have. Is the last genus that we have. This is the genus where we fall into as humans. We are Homo sapiens. But we start with Homo habilis. Homo habilis existed from 2.2 to 1.6 million years ago, and it was found also in the Rift Valley in 1960 by Loos and Mary Leakey. The same Mary Leakey who found Lucy. Remember that Mary Leakey was able to find Lucy's footsteps 2 years after Lucy was discovered. Mary Leakey was able to find the Laetoli footsteps. So she further proceeded and investigated with Loos Leakey. They also discovered another species, and they discovered another fossil. This fossil is Homo habilis. The term Homo habilis, what does it mean? Homo, we already know that it is our genus name. The habilis part there, it simply means that this is handy. So Homo habilis is believed, it is believed to have been a handyman. So this is handy man. So Homo habilis translate to handyman. The Homo there simply means man. Okay, men as in human. Okay, so human. So basically, Homo habilis is believed to have been a handyman. By handyman, it means that it used to have skills. Okay, when we say that someone is a handyman, they've got skills to be able to work with their hands. For example, to be able to make some tools and all of that. And that we are going to cover it in the cultural evidence of evolution. But you should just know that Homo habilis was a skilled. It was a handyman. It was a skilled type of fossil. Right? There is evidence to back up that Homo habilis is a handyman. Was a handyman, and that is what we're gonna do when we introduce the cultural evidence of evolution. All right. So Homo habilis was a handyman, skilled. And one of the properties of Homo habilis, he had a larger cranium size. This fossil indicates that it had a large cranium size, at least when you compare it to the previous species, such as your Australopithecus, the Australopithecus africanus, your Carabo, your Sediba, and all of those. They had a smaller cranial sizes. They had a smaller brain sizes. But when you look at Homo habilis, this is the picture of Homo habilis. Homo habilis is believed to have had a bigger cranium, because we can see it from this actual skeleton that this head is a bit bigger compared to your Australopithecus. And remember that a larger cranium, what does it indicate? It indicates that we have got a larger brain size. If we have got a larger skull, then you've got a larger brain size. And that larger brain, it does work. It does work because brain is the one that is responsible for 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 your for your intelligence. Okay. So basically, Homo habilis is believed to have had some skills and greater intelligence than the previous Australopithecines and your Ardipithecus ramidus. So Homo habilis is believed to have been one that has got more skills and it is handy. It existed between a 2.2 and 1.6 million years ago, found in Tanzania in the Rift Valley in 1960 by Lewis and Mary Leakey. And when you look at the second one, we have got Homo erectus. So Homo erectus. So Homo erectus. What does Homo erectus mean? The term erect means stand upright. Okay. So erect means that you are standing upright. So Homo erectus simply means that this was an upright man. This was an upright man. So the fossil of Homo erectus indicates that it indicates that when this was still a living organism, it was upright. It was upright. It was able to stand on two legs and be upright. It didn't have a posture that is bending. Because some of them, your Homo habilis, your Australopithecus, and all of them, they had a posture that looks like they are bending. They were not able to stand upright completely. Yes, they were able to walk on two legs, but they were not able to stand upright completely. But Homo erectus, otherwise known as the upright man, was able to stand on his two legs. So Homo erectus. Homo erectus existed between 2 to 0.4 million years ago. Slowly but surely, you can see that this value is becoming smaller here. Now we are at 0.4 million years. 0.4 million years ago, we are talking about something like 400,000 years ago. So now Homo erectus, if we go back 400,000 years ago, maybe we could have found Homo erectus still living before it was extinct. Okay, so Homo erectus was found in multiple locations. It was not only found in Indonesia, it was also found in South Africa and in Kenya. So the fossils of Homo erectus, they were not only found in one country, but they were found in other countries as well. They were distributed in multiple countries. But in one of those countries, the scientist that was responsible for discovering Homo erectus is Eugene Du Bois. Eugene Du Bois. That is the person that is the paleontologist that discovered Homo erectus. Then from Homo erectus, we already know that we developed Homo sapien, and Homo sapien, those are the modern humans. The modern humans, they existed from 0.2 million years ago to the present date. When we're talking about 0.2 million years ago, we're talking about something like 200,000 years ago. So modern humans, aka the Homo sapiens, aka the us, we are actually believed to have existed from 200,000 years ago until now. So the modern human race is actually 200,000 years old, according to the theory of evolution. But you should understand that for it to be able to get to being a Homo sapien, evolution was happening from Ardipithecus ramidus until we got to where we are as Homo sapien. And from the term Homo sapien, the Homo there, you already know that we're talking about a man. So it's, in this case, is a wise man. So the sapien means wise man. So this is wise men. So the Homo sapiens, the humans, we have got way larger cranium sizes compared to the other species that have already existed before. So this larger cranium size, I already told you guys last time that a larger cranium size indicates that we've got a larger brain, since the cranium houses the brain, right? And a larger brain size indicates that we've got more intelligence, because the brain is the one that processes information And if you are looking at human civilization, you can clearly see that humans are creative because we are building things, we are building technology. We right now we are doing a lot of stuff. We're doing a lot of stuff. We're building things, building cities, all of that. It is a subject of human intellect. Okay. That is why we are known as the wise men. The Homo habilis and the Homo erectus, yes, they did exist before us and they resulted into our existence as well. But they did not necessarily, they did not necessarily have that much cranial capacity. Yes, Homo erectus has the big brain, had a larger cranium size, but it was not large enough for the deep cognitive thinking, the one that we do as humans, the one that allows us to be creative and to be able to use our brain to make productive things. So Homo sapiens are known as the wise men. The earliest species of Homo sapiens were found in 2005 in Ethiopia. So in 2005 in Ethiopia, so it's like 21 years old ago. So 21 years old ago, old species of Homo sapiens were found, the old species of humans. So those were found by Richard Leakey. Richard Leakey found the old forms of human beings, the ones that probably existed around 0.2 million years ago. That is around 200,000 million years ago. Are we together, great house?
Yes, sir.
Anyone with a question? Anyone with a question? Okay. Let's just look at the chat board there. Okay, so Sam is asking, the Neanderthals are wise. Okay, so the Neanderthals have got a very large cranium, or they had a large cranium when they were still existing. The Homo neanderthalenses, they had a greater cranium size than the Homo sapiens, but they were extinct because of a certain reason. And you guys need to find out that reason. But they were wise. Neanderthals were wise indeed. They were wise indeed. But that was only found recently because around maybe 1980, people did not know that Neanderthals were wise. They thought that Neanderthals were just one of those foolish. I don't know. They referred to them as foolish. But now, after they found out that Neanderthals had a larger cranium size and potentially a bigger brain, a larger cranial capacity, then it meant that they had to change their narrative on Homo neanderthalenses, or on the Neanderthals. But they were wise. Yes, Sam, do you understand that?
Yes, sir. I get it now.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is the whole scope. Yes, and Amulo says, so basically someone with a big head is wise. Hey, yes, someone with a big head must be wise because the head pillar is housing the cranium, the cranium or the head is housing the brain. So the larger the head, the larger the brain, the greater the intelligence. And yeah. So to those who have got small heads, hey, I don't know, guys. I'm joking, guys. I'm joking. Honestly, this is just theoretical, in a theoretical sense, but practically, us as humans, our cranial capacity is already large on its own. It's not only about the physical volume of the brain when it comes to us, but it also depends on there are many factors that are affecting our brain and thinking capacity in the modern day. So it's not only about the size of the cranium, but for evidence purposes, when we look at the old species and we are studying the old species, we often look at the cranial capacity to be able to refer to intelligence. Yes, Sam?
So, sir, do you believe this theory is true when you relate it with
No. Okay, in my own opinion, evolution is still a theory because most of the evidences they are just based on probabilities and statistics. And the more you study, that maybe you go to a tertiary institution and you do more research, you only find out that the techniques used to build this theory up, they are actually not really 100% reliable. We cannot really say that we have a full idea of how things happened. But because remember that these species, they were just found in different places independently. There is no trace that these species are even connected to one another and all of that. And conspiracy theories also come and they will be like, no, these people did not really find out these fossils. These fossils are not really correct. Some people even doubt the radiometric dating and the relative dating. They even doubt that the Earth has been here for more than 2,000 years. Other people believe that the Earth is only around 2,000 years old. So all of those are part of the things that exist. But in the scientific community, it is classified as a theory because some of the things under the evolution theory have already been tested and proven. Tested in a statistical manner. Like, yeah, the probabilities are linking for some of the things. That is why it's acceptable in the scientific community, but you cannot really say that it's a good conclusion for you to be able to say that modern humans actually came from those. Because other people have got their own way of viewing things. They will tell you about aliens. They will tell you about extraterrestrial life. They will tell you about other life that existed before us and all of that. There are many ways of presenting this, but science is all about collecting some evidences and doing some tests and experiments and being able to make some deductions based on that. So far, these are the deductions that have been made, but the deductions cannot really be a good way of qualifying the evolution theory as a truly factual theory. It's not a fact, it's actually a theory. That's why it still remains the theory of evolution. Is that clear, Sam?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So you guys should often watch the debates under the theory of evolution. You'll find out how people view things from different ways, especially those people who are in scientific research. Those people have more information. They cannot just be told and agree to something because they know how their research is done. They know all the techniques that you guys are not aware of. Yeah, but all in all, guys, this is what I wanted to present for you guys today.